Hello fellow gamers, Peter here, and you've made it to the Esoteric Order of Gamers. Today, more Games Workshop. Now, I want to let you know that I do a lot of other stuff that isn't Games Workshop. I just have a bit of a backlog at the moment of stuff to get through and that I want to show you. They churn out so much product. It's just astounding. And I'm very lucky they do send me stuff for free. They sent me this set for free, so I can check it out and show it to you. As always, my opinions are very much my own, and I can say positive and negative things. And in fact, I'm going to say a few negative things about this product today because there's some stuff in here that I find a little bit frustrating. But before we get onto that, I just wanted to say, yes, I do other games. If you go to my website at orderofgamers.com, you're going to find rules and reference sheets that I've designed. I'm a professional graphic designer for hundreds of games. There's like 450 or more of them there now. You can download them, print them out, and you'll find them really handy. They're for all types of board games and tabletop miniatures games. Fantastic, succinct rules summaries that you'll find really useful. You won't have to be flipping through rules all the time to check for stuff. You'll find it on just a few sheets. So check out some of my other content if you're thinking, oh, too much Games Workshop. Well, there's 500 or so other videos you can check out about all types of games. So now that I've just made that clear, let's talk today about Kill Team Salvation. So what is Kill Team Salvation? Well, it's this box, and inside it's got a couple of kill teams and some extra sort of scatter terrain, some cards, a book, some counter sheets, some unit cards, and of course some transfers for the miniatures. What it doesn't have, however, is a whole lot of terrain. It's only a little box, a pretty flimsy box at that. And this seems to be the new format for Kill Team products. And I'm a little bit disappointed about it. I'll tell you why. In those big boxes, you used to get a whole lot of new terrain, a couple of kill teams, and all the extra stuff you needed to play. And it was like an entire campaign thing in a box. So, of course, we've had a couple of sets set on the Gallowdark, which is a huge space hulk floating in space with all kinds of bits of ancient spacecraft welded to it, and it's been in the warp, and it's horrible. Now those games were excellent, and I've been playing Kill Team in the Gallowdark with that space hulk terrain, which is all the corridor walls and everything. Really distinctive environment. It's boarding actions, close combat, charging into your opponent at just the right time. I found it really strategic and really interesting. And the good thing, of course, is that everything was in the box. Now with this one, you really have to buy two boxes. You have to buy this box with the kill teams in it and all the rules, and then you've got to buy a separate box with the large pieces of terrain to get this whole campaign experience. And I find that frustrating because it's really expensive. Here in New Zealand, you're looking at probably around $450 NZ to buy both this box and the terrain box, which is a lot of money, and it's a lot more than the individual, the all-in boxes used to be. So by splitting it into two, you could be saying, oh, this is more convenient because I can just get the kill teams and a bit of scatter terrain and I don't have to buy all that other terrain. Sure, you could do that, but the thing is this whole campaign is actually built around that particular terrain setup. So you kind of have to buy both, and I do feel as if it's a kind of sneaky way to get you to pay more to get the same stuff. What do you think? I really want to hear your comments on this because I think this is how it's going to be from now on, and I'm not happy about it. And also, well, from a purely selfish point of view, I didn't get the terrain set, so I can't really play these adventures the way they're designed to be played. What is the whole campaign setup, I hear you ask? Well, it's set on a planet called Beta Decima. Is that it? Beta Decima, yes. Or Beta Decima, I suppose you should say. And basically, this is the planet that the Gallowdark crashed into, broke up, crashed into all over the planet, making a complete mess of things. And basically, you're fighting it out on the planet. And the feature of this one is that it's basically platforms and gantries above a raging radioactive sea, which, on the surface sounds pretty cool. But actually what it comes down to is a whole lot of recycled Necromunda terrain, which we've seen before, placed on a board, and some different line of sight rules. Now, this frustrated me as well. This is the other thing I have against this set, and that is we have this universe full of possibilities for Kill Team. There are so many exciting things you can do. The last sets were great because you had on a Space Hulk, and as I said, boarding actions, close combat. It was really atmospheric and exciting. So let's do something completely different for the next campaign, shall we? I mean, let's, just out of the top of my head, why don't we do jungle terrain? And we have some fantastic terrain of jungle trees. Now, not only would that be very atmospheric, it'd be very Predator-like, fighting in a jungle and all the rest of it. You could have some ruins as well. That'd be very cool, but also that terrain would be really useful for games of Warhammer 40,000 or Necromunda or any other tabletop miniatures game. You could use it for whole lots of things. What they've done here is just, well, the thing that annoys me the most is that they've recycled old terrain, these gantries that they've already made for Necromunda, and I just think that's a bit lazy. So if you're knocking me for never saying negative about Games Workshop, settle back and enjoy, because I don't think it's very imaginative or exciting. I think the whole idea of continuing the saga of the Gallodark is like, is that really necessary? I think you should jump to another part of the universe and do something new and exciting. So I won't be showing you that terrain because I haven't got the terrain box. And as I said, you could say, oh, well, I can just buy this for the Kill Teams. Great. The thing is, however, is this whole book is, yes, it gives you all the information for the Kill Teams, which is great. It's all in there. However, it does have a whole lot of campaign information at the back here, which is specifically designed for that terrain setup. So if you're not buying that terrain, that stuff is kind of pretty useless. What are they thinking? It just feels like a decision geared to make more profit, and I just think it sucks. So, yeah, a real shame. However, that aside, let's look at what you get in this set. First thing you do is get, of course, high-quality miniatures. The miniatures are gorgeous. 2 Kill Teams. One of them is a Space Marine scout team. The scouts were first seen way back in Space Crusade, and let me just go get a model. Hold on. Here it is, the old Advanced Space Crusade set from way back in 1990. Wow, 34 years ago, 33 years ago now. And this is when these Space Marine scouts first appeared. This is how they looked. Great, chunky little figures. Now, I painted this in my chapter, my own chapter at the time, called the Purple Haze chapter. They had purple and yellow. There they are. Now, how things have changed. Let's look at one of the scouts from this set. Yep. Things have definitely changed in the way of miniatures. And while we're here, this is the first appearance of the Tyranids in this set. Look at that. So that was Advanced Space Crusade, which was, again, a sort of, well, it was set within a Tyranid spaceship, and you fought within the corridors of a Tyranid spaceship. It says on the outside, 3D role-play hobby game, which, you know, I don't know where the role-playing comes in, but anyway. So let's have a look at some of these miniatures. As I said, high quality as usual, very nice scout figures. As you can see, I've primed these ready for painting. Now, what I've done is just painted one of each team for you, so I'll show you those in a moment. Got a guy with a missile launcher there. This is a very nice Kill Team, and, you know, I really like the idea of these guys. They're sort of Space Marines, but they're not the huge, overly armoured Space Marines. Then you've got the Aeldari Kill Team, and I'm sorry, I don't want to call them the Aeldari. I'm going to continue calling them Space Elves, because that's what I think of them as, the wonderful Space Elves. And in fact, these guys are called Asurani or Asurani, which basically means Craft World Space Elves. They're very cool, and I really wonder, you know, what have happened to the Space Elves? We just don't see enough of these guys. They are very sleek and high-tech. I really like them as a playable faction. They just don't seem to get as much love as they should, and they haven't had a huge update over the years. They still look very similar, which is a tribute to the design skills of Jess Goodwin from Games Workshop, who designed the whole Space Elf look. and they still look fantastic. And they are modern miniatures. They just haven't, changed them much over the years. And of course, I was looking into the history of the Space Elves as they are in this book. And one of the things I love about Space Elves is basically they created the Chaos God Slaanesh because they partied too hard. Yeah, the Space Elves were like having such a good time being total hedonists for so long that they actually created the Chaos God of pleasure and corruption and all the rest of it. So go the Space Elves. Party like it's 4,000 AD, 40,000 AD. It's a bit muggy down here in the office. My glasses keep fogging up. It's really annoying. So painted figures. Here's one of the guys, one of the scouts I painted up. As you can see, I made him an ultramarine scout to match my ultramarine chapter. And here's my Asuryani guy, and this guy is painted in the livery of the Striking Scorpions. So just painted a couple up to give you an idea of what they look like. I've got to paint all the rest as well. You also get a couple of special markers for the Asuryani. I don't know what they do. Now you've got some scattered terrain, and this is nice stuff. I decided to paint this up very, very weathered. So I got out my old chipping medium. Now, I've got a tutorial on how to use chipping medium. If you go and look at my Necromunda Ash Wastes stuff, there's a whole video there on how to use chipping medium, and you can get really nice rusty effects with it. And it's super easy to use and really effective. Now, in this case, when I was painting this up, I actually put on the very, very dark brown color. Then I put on the chipping medium, and then I just roughly painted this grey over the top of it because I didn't have to paint the entire thing because it was going to be mostly chipped off anyway. So they were pretty quick and easy to paint. And I think you'll agree, you get a really nice, very, very weathered effect out of these. Some nice little bits of scatter cover. And this looks like something you'd brew an excellent beer in. So we'll just put those aside for the moment and let me show you some of the other things in the set carefully. There's a couple of these sets of cards, just reference cards. You've got your TAC-OP cards and everything. There's also all these abilities I'll tell you about in a moment, and tactical ploys and everything. Very large size cards, possibly too large. I don't know, they might take up too much space on the table, really. You've got those for both factions, of course. You've got your unit cards, which are very handy. Again, very large and table hogging. But, I suppose with all that information on there, you kind of need that size. I always remake these unit cards in my own design just to make them smaller and more succinct. But then again, I'm an obsessive graphic designer, so that's what I do. There's a couple of nice counter sheets for both factions, which are nice to see. There's even a special reference card for these to tell you what all the different counters are. There's a little piece of paper saying we put the wrong base size in the instruction manual, but that's fine. And you've got some transfer sheets, of course, for the Space Marines. And I don't know if they came with this set or not. I think they're another set. Just ignore those. Got things mixed up. A couple of dry transfer sheets. You've got your instruction booklet as usual. And then you've got this campaign book, which gives you all the info you need on these factions. So we've got the usual background information stuff, the story about Beta Decima and the Gallodark falling down on the planet and basically ruining everyone's day. There are the Scout Marines. You get names and background information. The Craft Welders. There they all are. And then we get into the stats for everything. Now, there's some nice stuff here for the Scout Squad, not so much the Elves, in my opinion. So, with the Scout Squad, you get this great stuff. They have this forward scouting ability, which means at the end of the setup, you can select and resolve up to 5 forward scouting options. And there's a maximum number you can choose of each one. So this is really nice. So you've got this idea that they're scouting Space Marines. They go in and they lay booby traps, or they infiltrate, or devise a plan, designate a target. You've got a real nice feeling there that they're scouts, which I think is great. However, if we then move on to the Blades of Cain kill team, you've got this far more complicated system, and that is, depending on the type of miniature, they have a choice of aspect techniques. Combat in the Space Elf world is all about aspects that you follow as a career in your particular obsessive behavior. So, for example, we've got two Dire Avenger figures, and then they have the Dire Avenger aspect techniques. So these aspect techniques, you are in fact allowed to, you can't use more than one technique per activation, or more than one per turning point. But if every friendly Blades of Cain operative selected for deployment has the same aspect keyword, e.g. Striking Scorpion, which of course they all do in this set if you want to paint them as the Striking Scorpions, you can use each technique more than twice per turning point instead. So great, you've got all these options. The problem is that each of these figures has their own set of options that you can choose from. So Dire Avengers have 5 options. Howling Banshees have 5 options. Striking Scorpion normal guys have 5 options. So you've got so much to remember. I mean, not only do you have your own special abilities for all of these miniatures, but then you have to keep track of, 15 other abilities that you may be able to use by different figures. I mean, it's too much. It's too much. For me, it's too much. It might be fine for somebody else. I love the fact that, I think that actually they could have got this across with just a couple of special abilities built in. I don't know. For me, this kind of thing would slow down the game. You'd really have to be playing with these, with this particular faction a lot to get to know all those options and have them on the top of your head. So that's something I'm not crazy about. Now, here's the actual terrain that you can buy separately. And as you can see, you'll recognize this. It's been released before. And it's basically, that's it. It's basically these platforms are the main thing. And then you got one of these. It's really uninteresting. The main thing you have about the map, which of course you don't get in the set, you get it with the terrain, is that it's got a big gantry on the outside, and then there's a hazardous area, which is kind of like the sea, and it's covered with fog, so it restricts line of sight, and you can't go into it. So the idea is that the gantries themselves are blocking line of sight now, and the sea is blocking line of sight, and there's a lot of vertical movement as you're going up and down the gantries and things like that. That's fine. I just find the actual gantries themselves and the sea in the middle not very thematic or interesting. Now, the other thing this set comes with is a campaign system for Beta Decima. And this is not a Spec Ops campaign. It's designed to be used alongside a narrative plays Spec Ops campaign. You need 3 to 6 players and a campaign master. So some poor chump has to run the campaign and not actually play the games, which, who the hell wants to do that? I'm sure there's some people who want to do that, but I wouldn't want to do it. And it's got, various rules for the rounds of the campaign and doing it that way, if you want to get into that. And then at the end, you get 9 missions. And as I said, they're all using the terrain in the other pack, so you can't use them unless you've got that terrain. So there you have it, folks. Kill Team Salvation. To me, a disappointing direction for Kill Team, especially after the wonderful stuff that we got with the last sets and the whole interior Gallo Dark terrain, which I think are great, and I think I'll be sticking with, frankly. I mean, I love this. The Kill Teams are nice. I think that some of the Blades of Cain have too much rules overhead with all those aspect rules. I'll definitely be using the Space Marine Scouts, however. They look pretty cool. And I think I'll use them for, my Gallo Dark games, because I'm not going to fork out another $230. When I say another, I got this for free, but I don't want to spend $230 just getting some old Necromunda terrain, just so I can play these particular games. So I'm registering my displeasure with this new system. I think they should go back to the single campaign sets where you can at least just buy it all in one go. You can say, I want to start a whole new Kill Team feel. But if they're going to do that, they've got to be distinctive, jungle planets or flying cities, or I don't know, you guys Games Workshop, you come up with it. That's your job. But make it more interesting than just jumping around a few old gantries above a sea. Doesn't do it for me. So there you go, my controversial opinions for the week. Please let me know what you think. I love comments and I love chatting in the comments. And I'm really curious to see what you think, not only of this new format of breaking it into two, but also of this particular set itself, whether you're interested in getting it, whether you've got it and are playing it and enjoy it. Tell me more. I will see you next time, everybody. Don't forget, check out my social media, subscribe, hit all notifications, go to the website, and go to Patreon if you want to support me, or the website for one-off donations. Every little bit really helps. Thank you so much. Bye for now, and good gaming.